Inventory in an organization has many different purposes. It can be used to buffer slow-moving lines and keep them running smoothly, and it can be used to decouple a supplier and customer. Whatever the reason is, you must understand the different ways that inventory can be used in an organization. If you would like to manage your inventory, over the next few modules, we will look at some of the different ways and purposes that inventory could be used and help you understand the different functions inventory may take in your organization. You will learn what it means to decouple inventory, what it means to buffer inventory, what safety stock is, what hedging is, and what lot sizing or batch inventory is. Remember that the function of inventory may be different from company to company. Now, before we get started, we would like to invite you to answer the following question in the community, comments, or upcoming assignments. Do you carry safety stock? If so, what are the benefits? Thanks again for watching, everyone, and don't forget to visit often, and we will see you in the next lecture. When something is said to be coupled, it would mean the two items are connected and interdependent on one another. In the case of processes and supply chains, there can be both positives and negatives with regards to coupled inventory and decoupled inventory. As you know, demand can fluctuate, shortages will occur, people call in sick, and shipping routes are sometimes detoured. There is a long list of issues that can disrupt both internal processes and supply chains. Many of these disruptions can be costly. Decoupling inventory can protect an organization against inventory disruptions, as well as allow an organization to continue functioning when supply chain failures occur. Decoupling inventory is also a useful method to help minimize or level the playing field of some manufacturing or supply chain processes that move faster than other ones. So, what does it mean to decouple inventory? Decoupling inventory is a technique that is used when extra inventory is set aside at different stages of a process or supply chain. While holding inventory can be costly, this technique is frequently used so that low stock situations or breakdowns at one stage of a process doesn't slow or halt other operations. Essentially, decoupling is a technique used to create independence between suppliers and customers. Many companies decouple inventory to protect all stages of production. This means that even when one operation has delays or gaps in inventory, it does not affect other operations. In the most basic sense, decoupling allocates inventory at different operations to prevent bottlenecks or constraints. You may be thinking, how does this apply to a lean organization? Well, supermarkets are a form of decoupling. In-place inventory is a form of decoupling, and receiving in location is a form of decoupling. Remember, lean organizations still have inventory. The difference is that they do everything possible to minimize the waste of inventory. So, how does decoupling work? Decoupling works by strategically finding and establishing what are known as decoupling points. For example, a make-to-stock environment may decouple by stocking in units, while an assemble-to-order environment would decouple by stocking sub-assemblies, components, and other needed items to complete the customer's order. Another example may be a make-to-order shop. These companies would not decouple finished goods because they are made to order. Instead, they decouple by stocking raw materials. This allows them to receive an order and pull materials right away. This helps reduce both lead times on supply chain as well as other disruptions that may occur. Let's look at some examples to help us understand this concept of decoupling in our inventory. Let's say you are a food supplier and you operate a number of different lines. Your lines process a great deal of food every single day. Now let's consider how quickly a breakdown can add up. Luckily, if you decouple your lines, you can set aside some inventory so that when issues arise, your lines can continue to run independently. For example, if a machine breaks down, you can stop the line and repair it while shipping your requirements like you normally would. Another example might be an automobile manufacturer who assembles separate parts to create a finished good. They decouple inventory so that one line of assembly, like a tire assembly, does not cause a constraint in other parts of the assembly. For example, a dash assembly. As you know, things do not always go as planned. Issues may arise when one operation works at different speeds than others. Decoupling inventory can cushion a company's inventory against potential issues they may have. You now know what decoupling inventory is and a little about how it works. Keep in mind that decoupling is a form of buffering, which we will discuss in upcoming videos. Now, before we go, we would like to invite you to answer the following question in the community, comments, or upcoming assignments. Do you decouple inventory? If so, how does it work for you? We look forward to hearing your answers right here on Lean Strategies International, LLC. Until next time, my friends, keep on improving, and we will keep on giving you solutions that ignite your power. Imagine a smooth flowing process. The work is easy, employees are happy, and inventory seems to flow like a stream of water. Now think what would happen if just one operation in the process couldn't keep up with the others. Or a machine breaks down. Now, your flow is halted and a lot of waiting occurs. Many traditional manufacturers in these cases rely on inventory buffers to prevent a complete line stop and keep lines running. So, what is an inventory buffer? Buffers are very similar to decoupling points. The main difference is that a buffer, as noted in the theory of constraints, includes both material and time buffers. In a practical sense, a buffer lessens or moderates the impact of something. In the case of inventory management, a buffer is extra inventory of either raw material or final product a company maintains as a protection against unforeseen circumstances. This lessens the impact of having no inventory available. Here's an example. You go into your favorite pizza shop, and they have cheese, pepperoni, and sausage hot and ready for the customer to grab at a moment's notice. These are buffer at the end of the line. Many times a buffer is not yet complete and simply awaiting further processing. This allows an organization to have specific hold points where they can use the unfinished goods to level a process or prevent a stop in the line. In simple words, we can say it is the excess inventory that a company keeps in reserves to protect itself against an uncertain future. As noted earlier, buffers can be maintained as material buffers or time buffers. These buffers in both cases are best placed at constraint points or any point in a process where the operation may need a little extra support. These could be shipping points, convergent points, or divergent points. Simply put, buffers are placed where a process needs help. Some advantages of this technique are protection against fluctuations in supply and demand, minimization of any disruptions that may occur in production, more stable revenue flow for a company, and inventory can lower the impact of lost opportunities by having the inventory readily available for customers. Of course, with every advantage, there are disadvantages that you may need to consider as well. Some of the disadvantages might include maintaining buffers can tie up resources and increase overhead costs. Maintaining buffers also uses up more space. And finally, maintaining buffers only solves the symptom, but does not address the root cause of issues like late deliveries, broken machines, and unbalanced or slow operations. So, let's say that you've weighed the advantages and disadvantages out and you've decided you will hold some buffer stock. How much should you hold? It would be great if there was a set amount that everyone could go off of, but the reality is that there isn't. Setting a buffer has its risks, but there are a few best practices that you can use to establish your inventory buffer. We will mention them briefly in this video and cover them more in later videos. First and foremost is fixed inventory buffers. This one is pretty straightforward. In this, the organization uses the support of experienced employees like planners. There is no formula. Instead, you decide on the buffer amount on maximum daily usage in a certain time period. Your buffer will stay the same until it is reviewed again and revised. Next is a time-based calculation. In this, the buffer stock is calculated based on a future expectation. And finally, we have a formula-based calculation. A popular formula that is frequently used to calculate the buffer is based on the average safety stock that a company will need in case of a stockout. This formula, however, does not take into account seasonal fluctuations of demand. And that's it. Buffer inventory. Remember, we will cover more about buffer inventory in later videos. Now, before we go, we would like to invite you to answer the following question in the community, comments, or upcoming assignments. Have you used buffer inventory? If so, how does it work for you? We look forward to hearing your answers right here on Lean Strategies International, LLC. And we'll see you next time. Have you ever wondered, what does the word anticipation mean? Stay tuned. In this video, we will answer the question, what is anticipation inventory? The word anticipation is defined in one way as the act of preparing for something. In the case of anticipation inventory, it is the act of preparing for something with regards to inventory. Formally defined, anticipation inventory is inventory that is kept on hand to account for or anticipate expected changes in demand. Spikes in demand generally occur because of seasonality, inflation and deflation, holiday events, current events, political changes, or other major trends. Anticipation inventory is commonly referred to as speculation inventory or smoothing inventory because it is bought in advance to avoid price increase or delays in time. Keep in mind that anticipation inventory is a form of a buffer and therefore must be forecasted. In these cases, it is often a wise decision to use inventory management software. Hold up a second. Did we just use the word forecast? Since forecasts, as we know, are always wrong, one must ask the question, why? Why would a company use anticipation inventory? Let's first think of a retailer increasing its stock of ice cream and cold drinks before summer to anticipate higher sales. How about candy manufacturers who buy extra chocolate in advance of Valentine's Day? Businesses also use anticipation inventory to hedge against expected bumps in prices, shortages of materials, and of course, inflation. While preparing for sales and hedging against price hikes might be a selling point for anticipation inventory, we must also consider the downsides too. First and foremost, carrying inventory costs a business money, so the business must always weigh inventory costs with other financial considerations. In addition to the purchase cost of the inventory, there are storage costs and possibly the costs of setting up needed equipment to handle the inventory you have on hand. Plus, we must always remember that any money invested in inventory will not produce any return until the inventory is sold. To put it simply, inventory ties up capital, and that means the money cannot be used for other things. So, don't let too much anticipation build when building anticipation inventory. Keep it in balance. Okay, let's summarize. Anticipation inventory is any inventory over and above a normal amount of stock that you acquire to cover increased sales, changes in pricing, vacations, shutdowns, or any other anticipated event. You now know what anticipation inventory is and some of the benefits and disadvantages of it. We will most certainly return to this topic in the near future to cover more details. But before we go, I'd like to ask you, the viewer of this video, a question. What examples of anticipation inventory can you think of? Share your thoughts in the community comments or upcoming assignments, and remember, review often, and create a trigger that reminds you to come back regularly. Until next time, my friends, keep on improving, and we will keep on giving you solutions that ignite your power. Whether it's materials or information, if the inventory is not there when a customer wants it, chances are they will go somewhere else to find it. Next, revenue is lost, and then it gets worse and worse. For example, if inventory is not available, throughput is decreased, waste is introduced, and supply chains slow down. With that being said, many traditional manufacturers and service providers use a type of inventory known as safety stock to solve these and sometimes catastrophic issues. In this lecture, we will introduce you to safety stock. Stay tuned. Welcome back. While inventory and stocking extra amounts of it does not generally solve the root cause of late deliveries, frustrated customers, slow production, or missed opportunities, it is one of the most frequently used solutions for traditional manufacturers. In the most general sense, safety stock can help offset changes in supply and demand, avoid costly stockouts, reduce the impact of disruptions in supply, lower administrative and ordering costs, cushion against forecast inaccuracies, maintain market share, and create consistency in a company's revenue. So, what is safety stock? Most inventory consists of cyclical stock, or the inventory that is expected to be sold within a given period of time, and safety stock. Safety stock is the extra inventory that is held and used to prevent an out-of-stock situation. It serves as a buffer that protects against fluctuations in supply and demand. This safety stock can help an organization protect against excess demand, delays from suppliers, forecast errors, replenishment failures, downtime, economic constraints, and many other unforeseen circumstances that may occur in supply and demand. Let's look at an example. A local manufacturer was recently featured in a popular manufacturing magazine, and they immediately experienced an increase in demand for their services. As the manufacturer fulfills orders, cycle inventory is depleted faster than usual. This drastically increases the risk of a stockout. As such, the company buffers against a stockout with some extra safety stock. Without safety stock, the company cannot fulfill orders once the regular cycle inventory is gone, and this could create many problems. And that's it. Safety stock. Now, we only went over what safety stock is in this video, but in future videos, we will cover more about how safety stock is calculated, common safety stock challenges, and even some formulas that can help you figure out what safety stock you should consider. So, rest assured, we will return to this topic in the near future. Now, before we go, I'd like to ask you, the viewer of this video, a question. What examples of safety stock can you think of? Share your thoughts in the community comments or upcoming assignments, and remember, review often and create a trigger that reminds you to come back to Lean Strategies videos often. Until next time, my friends, keep on improving, and we will keep on giving you solutions that ignite your power. Have you ever been through a political, economic, social, legal, environmental, or technological change, and you looked at something and thought to yourself, I need to buy as much of that at this price now before things start getting really expensive? Of course you have. We all have. In this lecture, we will talk about a common practice that when applied helps organizations purchase inventory over and above their current needs to maximize their inventory investments. That's right, we will discuss hedge inventory. Stay tuned. Hedge inventory finds its roots in the term hedging. Hedging, which means reducing or controlling risk, is a common practice in many industries and a not so common practice in others. Hedge inventory is actually very similar to anticipation inventory, except there is more risk and quite a bit less certainty in increased demand and decreased supply. Hedge inventory is the excess inventory that is purchased in advance or held in stock as a protection against price increases. The main objective of hedging is reducing or limiting any risk associated with future price fluctuations. A secondary objective of hedging is to take advantage of future price fluctuations. For example, if industry prices are rising, you would want to hedge when the supply cost is low. This helps protect your net profit. There are many reasons that price fluctuations could occur. It may be the simple result of seasonal variations or even sudden market disruptions. Other examples could be changes in exchange rates, political situations, economic promotions, clearance sales, employee strikes, new government policies, and vendor shutdowns. Hedge inventory can also be inventory that is built up for an event that has a very rare chance of happening. Of course, one should weigh the risk closely, as this approach is avoided by most businesses since there is no guarantee on return. Some more common practices of hedging are purchasing the always in demand commodities like gasoline and grains. These commodities are bought, sold, and traded on a daily basis, and hedging is generally a good way to avoid market fluctuation. Let's look at another example. Let's assume that our example involves a company that depends on a certain commodity. Suppose that K&K's oil is worried about the volatility in the price per barrel of oil. The company would be in deep trouble if the price of oil were to skyrocket, because this would severely impact profits. To protect against this, K&K can enter into a futures contract. This contract hedging tool allows K&K to buy the oil at a specific price at a set future date and time. Now, K&K can budget without worrying about the fluctuating price of oil. Another way that K&K can hedge is by strategically buying up all the barrels of oil and holding the hedge inventory. This now guarantees that if prices fluctuate, K&K's costs will always remain constant and allow them to control their profit margins. In general, there are two basic types or ways of hedging that a company can engage in: hedging inventory for a sale and hedging inventory for a purchase. Hedging inventory for a sale is when an organization hedges inventory so that they can avoid fluctuation in future sales. Hedging inventory for purchase is when a company hedges inventory to avoid future fluctuations in supply or purchases. To summarize, hedge inventory is a method of building up inventory to protect against future events. This requires a great deal of forecasting and speculation and should be done with caution. Remember, inventory, whether hedged or part of a regular cycle, ties up assets. And that's it. Hedge inventory. Now, before you go, I'd like to ask you a question. What examples of hedge inventory can you think of? Share your thoughts in the community, comments, or upcoming assignments, and remember to come back often. We'll see you in the next lecture. Have you ever heard the question, what lot size should we order? Or, what's the lot size of the inventory? In this lecture, we will demystify this question and provide some clarity on what a lot size is. So, stay tuned. Formally defined, lot sizes refer to the quantity of an item ordered for delivery on a specific date or manufactured in a single production run. The size of the lot can vary significantly and is typically determined by demand, but is usually adjusted to a higher quantity so that purchasers can take advantage of volume discounts when purchasing or manufacturing. Also, in general, higher lot sizes result in less expensive transportation costs. In other words, lot size basically refers to the total quantity of a product ordered for manufacturing. A simple example of a lot size is when we buy a pack of 6 sodas. It refers to buying a single lot of 6 sodas. Put another way, the lot size is the amount of a good produced or purchased at one time. Lot size is an important topic in lean manufacturing as well. You see, larger lot sizes and higher setup costs typically drive batch production and push inventory along. Here is an example.
Let's say that a salesman would like to make 250 business cards that he can hand out. He assumes that he will use all 250 cards in a year. He later finds out from the card vendor that the most economic print run is 1,000 cards. The setup cost causes 4 years of inventory to be manufactured, and it is very likely that the business cards will be lost, damaged, or the information on the cards will need to be changed or updated in a year. Reducing the lot size and setup costs allows smaller batches to be produced and creates a system where items are pulled through the manufacturing process rather than pushed. Remember, a smaller lot of production is an important part of many lean manufacturing strategies. One-piece flow implies a lot size of 1. Likewise, single-piece flow suggests a lot size of 1 single piece is what will flow forward. You now know what lot size means and how the term could be implied in a lean environment. Now, before you go, I'd like to give you a little challenge. Let's say you have a pallet of 100 items. Each item is wrapped individually, but ships as a pallet. What lot size will you ship if you ship 1 pallet, and how did you come up with your answer? Share your thoughts in the community comments or upcoming assignments, and remember to come back often. We'll see you in the next lecture.